Hey YouTube, Big Z here. Welcome to Big Z CashCity Picks. This is the divisional round session. Deep into the playoffs, here we go. What are we looking for? The value, the right pick. We've been doing so. We're trying to see if we need to get 100% now. Last week, what happened to us last week? Last week was kind of a 50-50 week. We went 2-2 overall. Big money picks, we went 1-1. I was shocked by Cleveland falling apart with the veteran Flacco getting absolutely destroyed. That defense, what happened? Couldn't stop CJ Stroud, the rookie. You better watch out for this guy. If he, for some reason, happens to even almost beat Baltimore, that's a name we need to look out for the future. CJ Stroud was amazingly calm. Reminded me of Brock Purdy last year in the playoffs. Watch out for this kid. I was shocked. I thought he was not going to handle his business in the wild card. Cleveland, with their defense and Flacco throwing the big numbers he was throwing, I thought they had that game. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. What else happened? Green Bay put 48 points up on Dallas. Dallas the frauds. I picked Dallas. I finally said this is going to be their home game. Time to prove they can get the curse off their back. And no, they are truly cursed in the playoffs. They are frauds. They've been frauds all year. I should have stuck to my guns, and I paid the price. Thank goodness, though, the Rams, who I think got cheated in the playoffs, they got a big money win for us. Even though they lost 23-24, that was disappointing. Detroit got lucky. They got the refs on their side, and they won the game, but we made it to Cash City nonetheless. And then our last light at the end of the tunnel was Tampa Bay beating up on Philly. Philly has been in shambles. We've been saying that the last several weeks. And hot Baker Mayfield in the passing game finally proved it once and for all for the season. Philly gets to go home. The Eagles got plucked. They lose 9-32. We should have bet more. We only bet half a unit in that game. But hey, we went to Cash City where they paid a man. Looking forward. Houston at Baltimore. Does this rookie, CJ Stroud, finally get on a stage that's too big for him? Does he finally find himself in a situation where the lights are too bright and the pressure is too strong? I say yes. Baltimore, the veterans on that team, the health on that team, the momentum on that team, Lamar Jackson, MVP, league MVP this year, it's got to be, at home, they're going to handle this situation. I feel that they're going to bring it together and finally show CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans what the NFL is all about. I think they can cover the 10 points. They keep it close maybe for the first half, but then Baltimore at home, too strong, too powerful. Zay Flowers, I think, is going to have a tremendous game. Mark Andrews comes back and gets a little bit in the mix, giving an uplifting overall feeling to the Baltimore Ravens. Not that they need him. Likely he's been filling in just fine. I say Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, likely. Running backs, Gus Edwards, Hill, and Cook do what they need to do to get this win and get the win solid, covering 9.5 points. Let's take Baltimore half a unit to win at home and get us to Cash City. Next up, we are looking for value and opportunity in the Green Bay San Francisco game. The Packers on the road visiting the 49ers are favored by 9.5 points. That is San Francisco. I say Green Bay is going to have their hands full. They are not playing the frauds that were Dallas. They are not playing the defensive caliber that they faced against the Cowboys. San Francisco is a whole other defensive beast. That running game is not going to establish itself like they did against Dallas. Najee is going to have his hands full. So his running game is not going to allow Love to open up his passing game. San Francisco is resting for 3 weeks. I don't think there will be rust. I don't think they'll fall out of rhythm. The 49ers are going to be healed and ready to go at 110%. They felt the only reason they weren't Super Bowl champions last year is because of that severe injury to their gem of a quarterback, Brock Purdy. And watch out for this. Brock Purdy is going to be throwing big to Kittle. That's my side prediction. Kittle's been relatively silent all year. So Green Bay's going to work to shut down the running game. They're going to work hard to shut down CMC. They may or may not. I don't think they will. Even if CMC has an average running game, put it at 80 yards, 100 yards. The connection Brock Purdy has with Ayuk and Debo, you can only double team so many wide receivers. But what about Kittle? I don't think Green Bay will account for the tight end action in Kittle. That tells me San Francisco will have maybe a tight game in the first, maybe second quarter, and then they start blowing things wide open, and Green Bay is going to be on its heels. Big money, San Francisco, covers 9.5 points. Let's go, 2 units. 49ers, take us to Cash City where they paid a man. Next up, Tampa Bay on the road, going against the Detroit Lions. The Lions are favored, -6. What do we see? I see a momentum and schedule comparison between Detroit and Tampa Bay. I am a little bit more impressed with Tampa Bay than I am with Detroit. And it seems to me Detroit should have lost last week against the Rams, except there was a non-call passing interference that the referees missed. Gave the game to Detroit. And even then it was a 1-point game. That being said, Baker Mayfield throwing on the hot streak. Detroit proving time and time again that the secondary can't stop the passing game, even from mediocre quarterbacks, even from second-string quarterbacks. Go ahead, look at the schedules. 200, 300-yard passing games against them all the time. This is a 6-point game. Detroit's at home. I get that they're favored. I think Tampa Bay keeps us closer. I think Baker Mayfield and Evans and Godwin and Rachaad White, I think they have a shot at winning this game. I say for sure they stay in it. This is going to be a 3-point game. This is going to be a whoever has the ball last wins type of game. I don't think Detroit gets away with this game, winning by a touchdown or more. I don't think they cover the 6 points. This might be a 1-point game, a 2-point game, a field goal game. Maybe it's 20-24. We're going to go big money on this. Let's go 1 full unit. Tampa Bay plus 6 points. They cover. They might lose. My goodness, they might even win. They might lose this game. Detroit wins, but they don't cover. I say the Lions have come as far as they're going to get. They're the Detroit Lions. It was nice to watch their Cinderella story unfold this whole season, but I think this is the end of the road for them. Baker Mayfield with the stunner. Don't forget, didn't Tampa Bay win a Super Bowl with that team and that organization just a few years ago? Granted, yeah, Brady, blah, 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 but that defense has something to say about it. Let's get to Cash City. The Buccaneers will take us there. Tampa Bay plus 6. Let's go. Cash City, pay the man. Last but not least, Kansas City at Buffalo. AFC game, divisional game of the week. Heck, divisional game of the weekend. This is tough. They're saying it's going to be close. Buffalo is favored at home only by 2.5 points. Kansas City, who hasn't been impressive all year, starting to put things together toward the end, so to speak, at least in the playoffs. But that game against Miami, I don't know, that cold weather and the Miami injuries tells me Kansas City is not the same Kansas City from last year. Buffalo, favored at home by 2.5 points, seems to have gotten their momentum and their game back in rhythm in the second half of the season. I'm a little more impressed with their play and their momentum building to get them into the playoffs. I like Buffalo finally. Josh Allen gets it together in the playoffs against Kansas City. However, we're only going to bet half a unit here because it is Kansas City after all. I'm going to lean toward Buffalo. I'm not going to put a whole lot of play into it. I think they win. I think they can pull it off by a field goal. They're at home. I think it's their turn. I think finally Kansas City has become more vulnerable than they've ever been. And it's hard to rule out Mahomes, though, even on one foot when he was on a sprained ankle last year. That was so impressive. But I think this year they finally met their match. They don't have any receivers. Buffalo can play in the cold just as anybody else, just as good as anybody else. I'm going to give it to Buffalo at home. I'm going to take them half a unit to cover 2.5 points. Let's go. Let's get to Cash City where they pay the man.